Hey, GutFoxx here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Madden's hurdles to competitive esports. The sponsor today is eSports. When you take E and play the game, who can touch me the most? So let's get right into it. Sorry, this is going to be like a whole bunch of thoughts on the subject. I just wrote down a bunch of notes, and I apologize if this seems janky a little bit. But all right, let's start. So EA just started up a new competitive gaming division a little bit ago. It came out. And they're kind of, they set on the DVC Invitational for Madden, and they want to make Madden and FIFA and their games competitive because there's markets there, as you see with Dota and Hearthstone and a whole lot of other games. People and fans do want to watch competitive gaming at its highest level. And EA put on that DC Invitational, Draft Champions Invitational, and they'll do one here in a little bit. But the whole thing was filled with inside zone and 4 verts. Something that is not, beautiful, and there's a lot of money plays in Madden. Like, there's large playbooks, and unfortunately, when they have these random playbooks, people really can't get into the funky plays. They go back to what they know the most and what works. So unlike games like League of Legends or, say, Starcraft and RTS that there are like certain points in the game that differ. In Madden, it was the same thing throughout basically the whole tournament, the same plays run. And that needs to be fixed. There needs to be some variety. Like, there's no hard counters. Like, the purple zones don't work 100% against corners. Flat zones don't work against running backs coming out of the backfield all the time. There are just certain things that work much better in games year to year than other things. And along that same point, the game isn't very consistent. It's not necessarily a bad thing, with aggressive catches, because bad bounces happen in real life too. But the best teams like the Patriots and players like Problem Right are usually there near the end. So randomness, like in poker, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there needs to be some limitation on it. So for the DC, they did Draft Champions Invitational, a good start. But I think instead of Draft Champions, there needs to be a dollar mode where you can draft a lineup like FanDuel. And I'm sorry for my opponent just screwing around. I didn't know. I usually don't show blowouts on the channel, and I didn't realize it was a blowout until after I was partly through cutting. So, let's get back into it. Sorry. There needs to be a dollar mode, a draft, your lineup, like FanDuel. Each player should get a certain number of those dollars and be allowed to pick the players they want their team with the higher overalls going for more money. It's just like putting together a team on Mutthead. You should be able to do that and then have like a certain dollar amount. There should be a mode like that for Madden, for its competitive scene only, or specifically focused on it, not only. But Madden, it's in a decent place, I would say, for competitive gaming. We have a competitor well ahead of its competition and problem, basically the Michael Jordan of the sport, and it's a sport you don't get old in, unlike other competitive scenes like Starcraft, where you're kind of going downhill at age 24 and a lot of people retire by that point. With Madden, it's much more like experience-based and not so much Twitch-based. And a lot of people still buy and play this game, and they want to see it played at a high level. Professional athletes even play this game, like we saw Odell and a whole bunch of them play the game. Maurice Jones-Drew, give it extra legitimacy. And with EA's backing and large prize pools specifically, it could come into the fold as a top-end competitive scene with other esports. But like I said earlier, not enough counters. There isn't 100% way of shutting something down. Like, if you call this and I call this, say your guy can get lucky. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, like that aggressive catch right there. But the real sport of football will always take the attention away from Madden and its competitiveness. But again, that could be a good thing if they team up for marketing. The NFL and Madden do, as they do a lot, because Madden's got the exclusive rights to the NFL. And in the summer, when everybody is jonesing for football, now that there's no, NCAA, that's when Madden can really take center stage as the way for people to get their football fix, or at least some people that enjoy playing the game Madden. Not necessarily every football fan plays Madden or fantasy football or whatever. Another, problem here. If Madden wants to go global, like the biggest esports on the planet are free to play. Madden needs to go free to play. They could get there with the amount of money Mutt brings in, and it really would only help their brand It would expand the Madden name and brand tremendously if it went that way, like Hearthstone, Dota, League of Legends, and went free to play. How many more millions upon millions? The number of players playing Madden, triple, quadruple? How many people are on consoles? Why wouldn't you download Madden every year? Take a look at MUT, the most famous mode. Maybe stick a couple dollars into it. They already gave away. They already gave away discs to players that had played Madden a lot on MUT and opened a lot of packs this year. They should just do it for everybody. Offer it free to play download. Anyways, Madden's also on console. PC players generally watch Twitch streams and tourneys more on their computers. The biggest ones are all really computer based. But less hardcore gamers, I think, also play Madden. It's seen as more of like a casual game played by casual gamers that might only be looking for a football fix and a game about their hobby than actually seeing the game as their hobby. So that's something that Madden might have to overcome, is that actual image of what the game is. And I think a big problem, again, in Madden is the players might not have enough control of their team. Like, they can't control 10 of their players on defense. Like, I can't control that guy until I click on the ball's near him. Like, I don't know why the right thumbstick is still hit stick. It should be able to be changed to your player on defense stick, with X being the hard hit stick, like everybody uses it this year. So that's a problem when you can't control everything on your side of the ball. So too much of the game is decided by the game, and the RNG, like I said earlier, about a pass being completed, that could turn some people off. Like, a whole game could swing on one long bomb, and a lot of games do currently. Like, I mean, not right here because it's 44-0. But again, like poker, there's a reason why the top players are always in the championship. Same with Madden, as he leaps me beautifully. And another issue was the segregation of years of Madden. Some people can't afford to get Madden every year. And if I'm still playing 15, what do I care about people playing 16? Having the free-to-play again would make an easier transition for this scene. And the split between PS4 and Xbox is a real problem for finding the best players. And like, the PS4 champ and the Xbox champ. So there's no one real world champ. I guess you could say that about a lot of players. No one real champ, because players do beat players all the time in other esports like Hearthstone, poker, whatnot. But really, from where Madden's competitive scene is now, it could only go up with time, as EA's competitive gaming division invests time, energy, and money into it. I mean, Madden was one of the first esports, really, because of the ESPN bus, and was really out front in that respect. And I give them a lot of credit for being ahead of their time with the esports stuff to where it is now. It's kind of fallen off in recent years, but they did have that history there. So and one thing, EA might want to look into the license for competitive gaming and esports revenue on those NFL players. I don't know if that'll be an issue there. But one other thing, as we approach the end of the game, if there is an equalizer or end of game catch-up mechanic, I know they say there isn't. Sometimes it feels there is equalizers. That's an issue, but we also need to see every player's traits to make informed decisions on who to pick and why to pick them. And well, that's it. The end of the game. That's the end of my points. Thanks for watching. What do you guys think about Madden's competitive scene? Let me know in the comments. Call to action. I'll see you tomorrow.